What's up? What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? How y'all living? Let me go ahead and get my banner off of here. I hope y'all are having an awesome, great. What's today? Tuesday. We're gonna get into this very sad topic. Okay. What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? Tasha checking in with another video. And this is going to be a viewer discretion is advised video, okay? I wanted to put my banner up there once I start putting up the photos, because when I was researching this and when I was gathering the photos, it turned my stomach a little bit. And so if you have a weak stomach, please, oh please, I'm warning you now. I'm about to get into this story and these pictures are going to pop up. Okay, and we are talking about none other than the woman in Pontiac, and I'm gonna pull up the story on my phone. She's the 34-year-old Pontiac woman that left her children in the house, and I don't know why my lips are weird. My Wi-Fi is on. I don't know why it's weird. But anyway, this is the 34-year-old Pontiac woman who left her children, unfortunately, for 4 years in a horrible situation. Okay, so viewer discretion is advised. I'm just letting y'all know that right off the break. If it's your first time joining me, go ahead and like this video. Comment in the comment section for live and replay watchers. And most importantly, subscribe to the channel. All right, y'all, I'm gonna bring her picture up in case y'all don't know what we are talking about. I'm gonna bring her picture up to kick it off. And I ask for everyone, if you are commenting, please be respectful to this situation. And I'm gonna share my screen with y'all, and I'm gonna bring it up so I can show y'all this woman, okay? So this is her, and I'm going to read an in-depth detail of what they give us on this situation. Now, this case was really troubling. I don't know what's going on with motherhood these days. A lot of women are just taking either the easy way out. And I'm not judging nobody, right? I was a single mother. I understand how it is to try to raise your children in just in any generation, right? Not even in this generation, but any generation. It is a hard task. I only had one child, and I can't imagine having like 3, 4, 5 kids on my own, trying to raise them up. It is a challenge and a hard task. But the thing is that separates good mothers from this woman is the fact that you have to put your best foot forward, and you have to do what it is for the betterment of the children. What's up, TH? Thank you for finally catching a live. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you caught a live as well. And so this is not my regular day, but I wanted to come out and do this story because it is new. And tomorrow I'm doing my hot topics, but I didn't want to bring her story into it. I wanted to give her story her own personal vibe. So viewer discretion advised. Let's get into it. This is the case of Kelly Bryant. Now that is Kelly Bryant. That is a picture of her on the screen. She's 34 years old. She lives in Pontiac. Somebody drop in the comments, where is Pontiac? I'm thinking it's in Detroit. I think it's in Detroit. So she lives in Pontiac, and she's being held on a $250 million bond. Now, the judge that set this bond, I'm not mad at the bond because this lady is disgusting and despicable and she needs to be thrown under the jail and throw the key out the window, right? However, you know good and as well this lady cannot afford a $250 million bond in cash. Okay, so if you know that, why in the world would you give that type of bond to this woman that clearly can't afford it? Now, if I'm moving a little weird on the screen to y'all, I apologize. I don't know what's going on. It seemed like it's a little delayed. Y'all let me know if y'all seeing it. Maybe it's just me. It could be my Wi-Fi. I'm hoping not. But we're gonna get into the story. All right, guys. So this is how the story goes. Okay, Oakland County, Michigan, Pontiac, Michigan. So that's where it is. Okay. It says an Oakland County mother who allegedly left her children to live alone in squalor for years was charged with child abuse and being held at a $250 million bond. Now, if y'all don't know what squalor is, let me read y'all the definition of squalor. Okay, so we're all on the same page. The definition of squalor is state of being extremely dirty and unpleasant, especially as a result of poverty. Okay, so she left her children, three children, in squalor conditions. Okay, now they're going to go over a timeline of what happened, how it happened. Okay. First of all, I want to stop and say this is not allegedly. They put on here allegedly she left her children. No, she left her children in squalor conditions. This is no allegedly. What's up, Trina girl? Welcome to the live. Welcome to the live. We talking about this thing right here on the screen. Okay. So here's the timeline, right? All right. So deputies uncovered three kids. Now, how did they uncover these kids? The landlord called in a welfare check. Now, I don't believe the landlord called in no welfare check on this woman. This landlord don't give a crap about this woman. He called in to the police because she had not paid rent since December. Okay, so he was concerned about his money. He was like, "Where's my money? She ain't paid rent." He was thinking on the greed side, or thinking on the side of, okay, I'm trying to get this person out of here because I ain't got my money since December. Now I think that's the real deal of it all. Okay, so when the deputies got there to the home, they discovered a 12-year-old girl, a 13-year-old girl, and a 15-year-old boy. So these are all preteen to teenage children in the house. Okay, the mom got arrested and is on arraignment of in the courts. Okay, it was the afternoon of February 14th. Okay, on Valentine's Day, deputies responded to a townhouse in the 600 block of Lydia Lane after a landlord called for a welfare check. I already told y'all what I think about that. Okay, the landlord told authorities that he hadn't heard from her since December 2024, and she hadn't paid rent since October. So actually, she ain't paid rent since October. So that's the reason why he called it in. He was concerned that something might have happened to Brian. I think that's a lie. He was concerned about his money. That's what he was concerned about. Okay. When the deputies arrived to the home, they found deplorable conditions. Trash was piled as high as 4 feet in some areas, and mold and human waste were found throughout the home. Authorities said the toilet was overflowing, and they also found, sorry, y'all, my phone skipped. They also found feces in the bathtub. Bryant wasn't there, but they found her three children who were wearing soiled clothes. Their hair was matted and their nails were several inches long. Y'all, I'm about to show y'all these pictures. Now, viewer discretion is advised. This lady, this was really disgusting. This heifer right here had the audacity to leave her three children. Let me tell you something. If you don't want to be a mom, a parent, use protection or don't have sex. Let's just keep it 100. I feel like everybody in this case failed these children. The mama, the daddy's family, her family, the school system, the community in which they're living in. Because ain't no way you could tell me that you can, excuse me, not smell the mess that was going on outside this house. If I'm about to show y'all these pictures, because I know that house stinks. And these apartment, they look like townhouses. They are close together. How in the world you gonna tell me y'all didn't smell this? Trina says, yeah, another mom did this recently too. Her name is Channy B. She is a wannabe rapper. Her baby passed away. Lord, this just don't make no sense. And it seems like it's happening every week. We're reporting on some mom that is leaving the children. Now, a lot of people may say, well, she ain't make these babies by herself. Where's the dad? I'm going to say this. The dads, yes, are important to the situation, right? However, when you're a mother, you have a different connection with the children because you carried them inside of your womb. You basically grew together, right? Everything you ate, the child ate. Everything you felt, the child felt. Every doctor's appointment, the child went on with you. Everything in life that you endured for 9 months, the child was right there with you, feeling everything, growing with you, right? So there's a certain bond that mothers have with children, a certain a mother instinct that would protect their child at all costs, not just in the human nature, animals too. You buck up against an animal's child and watch how they bite your head off. So when you get horrible people like her, and who Trina just said, Channy B, I don't understand how you as a mother can sit up here and put your children in these conditions. Trina said this dad here said they had custody agreement, but she was ignoring it. Yeah, he did say that. He said that he had a custody agreement, but you know why I blame the father as well? Because he was in jail. He was in jail, and you a zebra don't change its stripes. This woman just ain't all of a sudden become nasty. You did something to go to jail and left your children in the hands of this woman. Now, granted, when he got out, he tried to do the right thing, and he got custody of the kids, or tried to get custody, or however it went, because I'm gonna read on it, and it was ignored and everything like that. However, sir, if you got a custody hearing, or it was approved by the court, or however, and she's ignoring it, as a parent, you put your foot on the gas and you make sure that without a doubt that you can get your children, that you can see your children. You go past their house. I don't care what she's telling you. Telling the family, what's up, Yuli girl? Welcome to the live. Hey girl, hey. She telling the family made up stories about the children. I don't care what she said. If I ain't seen it, they were in this house for 4 years. That means y'all have not seen them in a while. Why didn't any of the family members call for a welfare check? Why didn't y'all go over there? Let's get into the pictures, y'all, because I'm telling y'all, viewer discretion is advised if y'all have not seen these pictures. This is their bathroom. Everyone in that family gets me mad too, Yuli. This their bathroom, y'all. Look at this filth. I wouldn't even leave my dog in that mess. Oh my goodness. Look at this. This the trash that was piled up. Look at the feces in the child. I cannot stay on these pictures for long. Look at this nasty mess that these kids had to live in. And this the outside of the townhouse. Outside of the townhouse. You mean to tell me wherever they was at, none of these neighbors, because it looked like a joint unit. Ain't nobody smell that coming through their walls. That's why I say the neighborhood failed these kids too. Yuli said, child, why didn't the neighbors call someone just in the smell? Thank you. That part alone. So let's keep on reading, right? So the mom wasn't there. Investigators learned that the boy slept, now the 15-year-old boy, he slept on a mattress on the floor, while the girls allegedly slept on pizza boxes. These girls slept on pizza boxes. Her daughters were hiding in the bathroom that was filled with feces, piles of trash, and completely non-functional, while her son was hiding in another room, said Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald. Police were astonished to find anyone in the location because it appeared to be uninhabitable, while piles of garbage several feet high, including large amount of human exertment. The prosecutor said the girls also had a difficult time physically walking outside of the home. Lord Jesus. I gotta pause. Yuli said they allegedly said that she at some point was only sending them freeze and bread. Yeah, DoorDash. She was sending them DoorDash orders and bread. Right, Trina. How were they not in school? And that's my thing. I was watching Auntie Advice. She did a review on this story, and she made a good point. We have to start being neighborly. We really, really do, because I'm not saying be nosy, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes nosy is a good thing. We have to start being neighborly. We have to know the people that's in our building. We have to know if, okay, you got kids. School is in session. Why your kids home? I got them kids to live upstairs from me. If it was school hours and I heard them running around for a couple of days and it's no holiday and we not on no winter break or nothing like that, I'm going to be calling somebody and find out why these kids at home. And even if they say, oh, the kids is sick, whatever, fine. The people may be like, oh, she nosy downstairs. But this is why you gotta be nosy. Now, how were they supposed to use the freezer? Right. They couldn't use nothing in that house. Y'all, I'm gonna get to it because I got a video I want to show y'all too. From my phone, because I don't know how to load it up on here yet. But we get into it. It also says Bryant allegedly lived in a Pontiac home with her 4 children in 2019, right? But at some point between 2020 and 2021, she moved out and left 3 of the kids to live there alone, while the 4th child went to live with their father, according to McDonald. All I can say is praise God that the 4th child father got involved and took that child away. The 4th child must have known something. He must have had privy to something going on with her. Because how would the 4th child father know to take that child away? Right? So, detectives also learned, this is how jacked up this lady is. Detective learned that she was living in another address in Pontiac, okay? While the 3 children were living alone, they had no physical contact with their mother. The only child that ever communicated with Bryant was the 15-year-old boy. He told investigators that he would text his mother when their food supply was low. Bryant would then allegedly use companies like Instacart, DoorDash to send the 3 children food. But in the entirety of their abandonment, she never sent them toilet paper, soap, or shampoo. She is a vile individual. And you imagine how those kids were going to grow up. Absolutely. They're going to need therapy. They're going to need counseling. They're going to need a lot of things, because in 4 years, they were neglected and abandoned and taught to live, because living in filth and junk and being hoarders and things like that, it's a mindset. They were taught for 4 years to live in that type of mindset. Let's go back to this nasty woman. So this lady left her children, moved out somewhere else, and was sending them food. And then that's why I say everybody failed, including the DoorDash and Instacart people. And rock with me, because some people might throw tomatoes and say it ain't their business to get involved. No. Back in the day, it used to be it takes a village to raise a child. Village doesn't just mean your neighbors. Village means the school system. Village means the government. Village means the milkman. Anybody dropping off. If I'm dropping off food to this house and I smell a putrid, because look at these pictures. Look at these pictures. You can't tell me that this smell did not come up out of that house. Out of that house. You cannot tell me that. As a DoorDash person, I'm going to be like, did somebody die in there? I know me, I'm calling the police. I'm going to drop that food at the door, and when I get in my car, I'm calling the police, and I'm letting them know, look, I'm up here outside of such and such, and this smells like a dead body may be inside of here. Now, so, let's move on. So the DoorDash people dropped it off. She ain't leave no soap or nothing. Toward the end, the kids were being sent one loaf of bread. So she had stopped sending DoorDash at a certain point and was only sending them a loaf of bread to last them for several days. During their years-long abandonment, the only child to have ever stepped outside was the boy, and he only did it twice. He told investigators that he wanted to step outside. That he wanted to step outside to touch the grass and to check the mail. How sad is that? Ryan had allegedly instructed the kids to never open the door or leave the home. All three kids expressed fear about what their mother's response would be if they left the home, said McDonald. So this woman had fear in them because if they were so afraid to not even leave the house. Now, she left them for years. Now, they're in preteen, teenage years. So you would think an ordinary teenager would be like, let me get out of here and go get some help. So that means that she was probably physically abusing these kids or had some level of fear to the degree that they wouldn't even leave the house for 4 years. Them girls never knew their mother. Absolutely, Yuli. Just ridiculous. So, the mother is also accused of concealing the kids from her family members and lying about their whereabouts. Now, again, like I said, the family members saying that they would ask about the kids. She wouldn't be honest with them and tell them what was up with the kids. My thing is this, family members, 4 years, don't take her word for it. Get in your cars. Go to where she lived at. Now, I'm going to give them some grace because maybe they didn't know where she lived. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. Okay, even if you didn't know where they live, why didn't you call the police and say, my nieces are missing. My nephew is missing. Something's up with them. This is where they went to school last. See if the school got some record of their last place of employment. Yeah, Yuli, hire a PI. Do something. So it says the detective took the active steps of lying and concealing to make sure the children went undiscovered. Hold on, y'all. Oh, okay. She lied about the whereabouts and she concealed the children, okay, to make sure the children went undiscovered. She took these actions knowing that her children would suffer serious physical and emotional harm as a result, McDonald said. McDonald is the investigator, y'all. In addition, Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard said Bryant would claim the children were with a babysitter when family members asked where they were. Bryant told investigators that the father wasn't in the kids' lives, but they later learned that he had tried to be. The father of the 3 children was incarcerated for a while and didn't have any contact with the kids, according to Bouchard. But when he got out, he filed the paperwork for visitation and was granted those rights in 2022. But Bryant allegedly still wouldn't allow him to see the kids. If you got, like I said before, and I'm not bashing the father, he was locked up, he made a mistake. We all make mistakes, right? However, Dad, you got children. My thing is when you become a parent, you need to do what it is that you can possibly do to stay out of jail and to stay out of being away from your children. You just have to. You got to turn that other cheek. You got to resist them temptations. You got to do what you got to do because your children comes first. However, he did at least try to step up and get rights granted. He did do that. So we'll give him that. But if she was denying you, go back to the court. Be like, look, y'all granted me this, and she's denying me. Yuli says, I would like to know if the lease was under her name, because if it was, a simple background check would have given the family their address. Yeah, I got questions. Absolutely. I agree. I agree. After the three kids were found on February 14th, they were immediately taken to the hospital for an evaluation, and they all showed several signs of neglect, according to the prosecutors. At the hospital, the children struggled with completing basic hygiene tasks like flushing the toilet, brushing their teeth, because they had not done it in years, McDonald said. Now, could you imagine? These children got a long way to go, y'all. Could you even imagine the condition their teeth is in? They haven't been to the dentist in 4 years. Now, we just getting them at the ages they're at now. So let's back up. The boy was 12 when she left, maybe 11 or 12 when she left. The 12-year-old was 7 when she left, and the 13-year-old was 8 when she left. These were small children when she left. So people probably want to look at it as if, okay, they're teenagers, why didn't they do this, this, and this? And even I said that. But you got to think about it. If they were very small when she left, they're in the stages where they have to be taught, like they said, basic hygiene, basic know-how, things of that nature. Yuli says she destroyed their development. Yep. If you didn't want them, why didn't you give them to a family member, to CPS, to a hospital? Absolutely. There are places where you can take your children if you decide that you do not want to be a mother. Why leave them in the house by themselves? Absolutely. Something is mentally wrong with her. So, and let's go further. The prosecutor also noted the children appeared to be okay considering everything they had been through. Child Protective Services placed all 3 children into the custody of a family member. I need to know who this family member is. Maybe, and I'm going to give grace, right? I'm going to give grace because maybe, but if the family member knew how to contact her, didn't they know where she was living at? I don't know how big Pontiac is. Excuse me. Allegedly is her father T. It's her father T. What you say, Yuli? I don't know if I'm trying to give them grace because maybe they didn't know where she was living. Maybe they did not know. But I don't know how big Pontiac is. Because I know in DC is, a poppin' city, but it ain't that big. You can run into the same person, especially if you are in the same neighborhood. You could be walking down Minnesota Avenue, for example, and bump into somebody that you know. So I don't know. And the kid's father that is taking care of them. You said, and the kid's father that is taking care of them. Oh, that may be his family. I'm guessing. And then the dad so I'm guessing the 3 kids have one father, and then the 4th child of hers has another father. So when that father took that child, did he not notice any conditions? Was it in the beginning before the conditions got bad? Like, I'm assuming that she was still there at the house for the father to come here and got the 4th child. I have so many questions about the 4th child father. Like, what did you observe, sir? He needs to be asked some questions too. And even if they're not your kids, sir, if you got there and you realize that this is some horrible conditions, you could have at least took them kids and called the proper authority if you didn't want to take care of them. That's still your child's siblings. Anyway, let's go on. This case annoyed me. So Brian was found in another location, right, and arrested without incident on February 14th. Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard held a press conference on Tuesday, February 18th, and he said that The case was handed over to Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald for review. This is when we first learned more information about the deplorable conditions the kids lived in and about how the neglect went on for so long without anybody knowing about it. Boucher said that a gap in Michigan's school code allowed for the status of the children to go undetected. Horrible. TH says, horrible, poor babies. I hope the family member has been checked out. It's going to take a lot for them to understand what it looks like to be loved and cared for. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the trust. They're not going to trust anybody because their own mother who carried them in her womb. Yeah. I ain't even trying to get emotional talking about these stories, but how you gonna carry a baby in your womb? The connection that a mother has to their child. And you sit up here and leave your children in squalor conditions. There's women out here that are trying hard to get pregnant. Me, one of them. Me and my husband are trying hard to get pregnant. We suffered a miscarriage a year ago. And you have women like her who are blessed to have not one, not two, not three, 4 babies. And you turn around and treat them like trash. Yuli says, I ask myself that question so many times. How can you leave your babies? Absolutely. How? What kind of person? And then the school system. School system dropped the ball. It says one school received a request for records from another school in Pontiac, but no verification ever moved to that school. So just because a school received some records saying maybe that the kids are going to transfer, they all of a sudden said, okay, these kids are going to a different school, so we ain't got to deal with them. So we've done our job, so let's get them out the way. No, no, no. You should have made sure that them kids were in that school. Do a follow-up. Yuli says something that I got crazy when my kid is not near me. Absolutely. Child, my daughter is 21. Well, will be 21 this weekend coming up. And she could call me right now, and if somebody jumped out of pocket, I'm on mother bear mode. I don't care if she's grown. Excuse me. That's just me, right? So when the children didn't show up for their initial school that they got transferred to, they were dropped off the enrollment list since the new school had already requested their records. So the schools got their stuff mixed up and tied. They didn't care. Boucher said his department is proposing legislation to amend the state school code that would make it so that before a child is unenrolled, the school would need to obtain written confirmation that the child is attending another school. Then if a child doesn't show up at the school for some time, a follow-up should be required to ensure the child is okay. That's what I just said. I'm going to play this video for y'all. Hold up, y'all. Let me get to it. Because they go on to saying the judge set the bond for $250 million. Hold on, y'all. Let me get to it. Her next court date, y'all, is going to be March 4th. And you know I'm going to be keeping my ear to the streets on this story. Let's see. And then she has one after March 4th. She has her preliminary examination is scheduled for March 11th. Let me get to this video. All right, y'all. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and we're gonna look at this video. Let me put this music of mine on pause as well. Pause. And hopefully y'all can see this. I'm finding out that in order for me to share a video with y'all, I'm gonna have to end up paying some coins to download the videos, but it's all good. So let's get into this video.
The mother facing charges accused of leaving her kids inside. out of a home for years, close to 5 years.
Hold on, y'all.
They're given a bond for $250 million as Kelly Marie Bryant waits for her trial. Efforts have started to clean up the mess left at the home where the children.
Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry.
So long.
Okay, I was trying to turn it up.
Hearing today and the home. Victor, we understand progress is at least being made on the home, right? Yeah, totally right, Ty. We have seen them really making a dent in cleaning up that huge mess that was left behind. All of that playing out while the mother waits to figure out what's going to happen to the rest of her legal process. It's been
sorry, the screen, I got it blurry.
Hazmat suits to clean up the horrific mess allegedly left behind for years by Kelly Marie Bryant, as her kids stayed and lived in those deplorable conditions for quite some time. Oh, wow, it's just terrible. It's no words. There's no words that I could say. For something like this, a condition like this, there's no words I could say. And we've seen item after item being brought out of that house to be disposed of, but the crew says the biggest issue that they had to deal with at first were the rodents. When I first came in yesterday.
So hold up, y'all. So they interviewing the cleaning crew. The cleaning crew got up in there, and the cleaning crew said it's messed up. They had on hazmat suits, y'all, and they were talking about they had to step over the rodents that was in there. So rats and things running around in this unit.
I had to step over the mice first. Mice all throughout the whole house. And we had to get over that. Once we got over that, it was fine. As the cleanup process takes place, Bryant was given a bond in the amount that she would likely not be able to pay as she awaits trial for 3 counts of first-degree child abuse.
I'm giving her a $250 million bond. Cash only.
Either way, after seeing firsthand what the kids were living in, these workers are just glad they're okay. Yeah, I feel bad for the kids. Mm-hmm. It's really bad. It's bad how she left the place.
Yeah.
No, Brian is going to be right.
So y'all heard, yes, rodents. Rodents. Y'all heard yep, rodents. Y'all heard them say that she just left the house disgusting and they feel bad for the kids. Let's watch this other video. I got another one for y'all. If y'all can't see it, I'm sorry, but I hope y'all can hear it.
For your patience. My name is David Williams. I'm the Chief Assistant here at the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office. Standing here with us are Assistant Prosecutor Kanika Ferenczi, Assistant Prosecutor Lauren Benninger, Chief of our Special Victims Unit Sarah Green, our Chief of Administration Betsy Hagan, and of course Prosecutor McDonald. We're also joined by detectives who've been involved in the case from the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. That's Lieutenant Sam Marsban and Detective John Grish. Prosecutor McDonald will announce the charging decision today and take your questions. But before she does that, I want to remind everyone that charges are only allegations and the defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty. Also, the details in the prosecutor's remarks today come from the swear-to in 50th District Court earlier today. Prosecutor McDonald.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to announce that we have authorized 3 charges of first-degree child abuse against Kelly Bryant, a 34-year-old resident of Pontiac. My office has already advised the court in the neglect proceedings that we will be asking to terminate the defendant's parental rights. In every case of child abuse, my office focuses first and foremost on the best interest of the child or children and on holding those responsible for abuse accountable. The 3 children in this case suffered unimaginable abuse and neglect over a long period of time. Thankfully, they've now been rescued from that, and our first priority has been and will continue to be their safety and well-being. I want to briefly address, though, why we're here.
So that's McDowell. She's giving her briefing. I don't want to play the whole entire video because I wanted to get to this one. The next one is Bouchard, I think that's his name, and he was amazing at how he broke it down. He was also amazing in how he said that their community is the greatest community because let me tell you, people heard about this story and they donated bags upon bags of clothes. So much so that they had to tell them, we don't need no more clothes and shoes and stuff. And let's focus on some financial support. So let's see what he had to say real quick.
We're here to update you on a very horrific case of the 3 children in Pontiac who had been basically abandoned in a home. I'll kind of give you a little bit of an update on where we are, and more specifically where the kids are, how they're doing, and the kinds of things we're asking for on behalf of the kids. So one of the first questions is that we've heard from a lot of people is, where was the dad during this? So to back up a little bit, the father had been incarcerated for a period of time and had no contact with the kids. When he came out, he sought the opportunity to reunite with the kids and actually filed some legal papers in court to try to get visitation and those kinds of things. A consent agreement was arrived at in 2022, but the mother still would not allow him to see the kids. So that's what we've learned so far, at least preliminarily. We're going to go back and double check all these timelines and that kind of information. So he, in essence, had lost contact with the kids. And that's where that stood. So we've had questions about that. The other questions that we've had was, who were the other people potentially dropping food at the house other than the mother? So far, again, the investigation is pretty layered and complex, given that it's going over years. But it appears that those are companies, like an Instacart or a DoorDash, things like that. So far, none of the people that were coming to the house had any awareness that there were kids inside or the situation in which they were delivering to. Obviously, the question was.
Now, again, like I said before, that's why I'm trying to give grace to some situations, like try not to be so judgmental and harsh, because, of course, okay, DoorDash, Instacart, normally they drop your stuff off, they going about their business, they doing a job. But as y'all saw the pictures that I showed y'all earlier, those conditions were so deplorable. It's no way you couldn't have smelled that. Just off the mere fact, if you didn't say who's in there type thing, being that nosy, right? Because you don't know what you're walking into. Going back to your car and calling 911 and saying, I think it's a dead body in there or something. Well, I don't know what's going on. But maybe they felt like, okay, but it has to be somebody in there because they ordered DoorDash. Maybe they're just nasty. I don't know. Me smelling that, because you got to come up to the door. So I'm pretty sure you smell something. Ugh.
Somebody dropping food off knowing there's kids there. No information at this point leads us to believe that. The kids were forensically interviewed with our partners at Care House. They've already been seen once at McLaren. We intend to have them at a much more detailed, both physical and mental health kind of checkup, if you will, that will happen hopefully this week. When our detectives saw them at their interview at Care House, they were already making amazing progress, having had some tender love, having had some supportive care, having been put in new clothing and some basic hygiene. The one detective said that the little girl was talking quite a bit. So that's super exciting to see that happening. And as it relates to being in the house, the only one of the 3 that ever came out was the young boy, and he came out twice. Once because he wanted to feel the grass, which by itself is heartbreaking, and a second time to check the mail. So you wouldn't do this to an animal, let alone your child. So, just to hear that he came out to touch the grass is just crushing, soul crushing on so many levels.
And it is like that. That is heartbreaking, just to know things that's why you have to really be thankful. You have to be thankful. And I don't believe that you should, play this for your children or anything like that. But I do believe you should have a conversation with your children, if you have teenage children or minor children, and just let them know that there are some children out here that are dealing with heinous situations, and to just make sure that your children know that they should be thankful for the parents that they have, the food that they have, the roof over their head, and everything, because you just don't know what another child is going through. To say that he just wanted to touch grass, things that we walk on and pass every single day, and we don't even take a second thought about it. He wanted to just touch the grass. That just
As it
child.
relates to the house, we have obviously released pictures. I'll get my technical expert up. You've already seen some of these pictures. I rolled that little mouse, but it didn't want to cooperate. So inside of the home, as I had mentioned with these pictures, trash was piled, in some places 3 and 4 foot high. Everything was covered with feces and
I
trash.
showed y'all the
The
pictures.
toilet had become non-functional, and the bathtub was filled with feces. That's the kind of situation these poor kids had been living in for years, not just hours or days, for years.
Mhm.
And so when you have the complete lack of hygiene, a complete breakdown of basic living conditions that they were subjected to, and to get a little deeper into that, detectives have narrowed down the initial abandonment they believe to be somewhere in the spring to summer of 2020. Obviously, COVID played a little part in the disconnect potentially with schools and school communications. In 2020, the mother dropped off some trash bags, gloves, and Febreze, and that was about the last thing related to hygiene. 2020, in the height of COVID. Okay. Towards the end, the children apparently were getting a loaf of bread dropped off that was intended to last 3 to 4 days. So, obviously, on so many levels, the conditions are horrendous and the situation terrible. So, what we're trying to do in the meantime, and as it relates specifically to the case, the preliminary report has been turned over to the prosecutor. We're adding some more stuff for them. They're in the process of determination. When I heard about this, I called her on the weekend and let her know it was coming, and she has her staff queued up, and they're in that process. As it relates to the kids, the first thing we wanted to do is obviously get them safe and to get them clean and get them in clothes. And I will say we have one of the most generous communities, I think, in the world. We put on there that we needed clothing, and this is just a tiny sample of what we've
I don't know if you could.
received.
Oh, hold on, y'all. Trying to see if I could get.
At the office of another office of ours, we have bags and bags. So we don't need any more clothing. We greatly appreciate it. The family and the kids greatly appreciate it. And so we're kind of pivoting now to financial support. And we have put up a link, if you will, to the Charity Mission of Oakland.
Now, I was trying to see if they're gonna put up the link. But you could see that when people found out about the story, they reached out and they got them bags and bags and bags of clothing. So I'm gonna try to.
Percent of it will go to.
I'm gonna play a little bit more of it because I
don't
want to.
Traditional fundraising methodologies you see out there, they take a percentage. 100% of this will go to the kids. What I am asking is, again, our generous viewers and listeners out there and readers, we're looking for a law firm that would set up a trust fund. So that we can take 100% of what we receive in donations for these kids and put it in a trust that can be administered, that can take care of maybe their medical bills, mental health visits, and if there's any overage, maybe set some money aside for their future education.
Absolutely.
This can be a long-term.
I didn't even, and I listened to some of this video, and I didn't know that that's what they were trying to do with the money, set up a trust. That is huge. That I like the way that he was breaking this down and giving pointers and things that need to be done because yes, set up a trust for them for their medical bills, things that they're going to need, and their future education is huge because it is going to be a long road for them. Isn't it amazing? That is amazing. I loved that they thought that deep into trying to help them. And let's listen to a little bit more.
And so we'd like to be able to kind of hand the baton to a trust fund that will manage it in a way that makes sure it's just the kids. Not suggesting anybody else would do anything with it, but we're looking for a mechanism where we can hand this off. So if there's a firm out there that would like to set up a trust fund for these kids, then we'll deposit any receipts that we have in a very short period of time. I think we've already got the $15,000 to $20,000 in on our donations.
Okay, so they've already got $15,000 to $20,000 in donation. I hope that a law firm does come forward and actually take that on and set up a trust for them free of charge because they need the help. They really do need this help.
We'll obviously have some real dollars to be able to give these kids, but that won't make up for the 3-4 years that they've been subjected to these conditions.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this more than once, but you see those videos of animals in just terrible conditions on commercials, and it pulls at your heartstrings. Imagine maybe by 10 living in what we showed you, and then play it out over years, not days or weeks. So it's hard to wrap your head around this one. So there's going to be a lot of long-term, I think, mental health and educational needs and things that we want to try to help with the family to get to that point. The other thing I'd like to mention, the family is asking, apparently, some of the folks that are now involved with the kids that didn't know, that's another question we've asked, they didn't know what was going on with the kids. They had been told by her that somebody else was babysitting the children or other kinds of things. So they were unaware what was happening.
And that's why, like I said, I had some strong judgments about the family and everybody and everything. And that's why I said, I want to give them grace because, like he just said, they're saying they didn't know that she was telling them stuff. The only thing that makes me still want to stick to my strong opinion on them is the fact that, yes, you may not have known. Yes, she was telling you stuff. But at the same time, every time you called, if you were calling over a span of 4 years, say you were calling once a week over 4 years, every time you called, she was like, they with the babysitter, a light bulb would have went off in my head and said, listen, I need to go physically see about them. I don't believe her. I mean, so
far,
let's finish it.
According to our investigation, but what they're asking is they feel like they're being hounded by media outlets, so they'd like to get some privacy for their kids, the grandkids, and the aunts, and those folks want just a little bit of a safe bubble, if you would. So they ask that, which of course we're going to do. Now, on another front, all of us are asking, how the heck did this happen? How did we lose 3 kids? How did they fall through the system? The community, the relatives, the schools, how did no one know? And the easiest answer we could come up with, and I put on my old legislative hat, and thank heavens we've got a person on our staff that also had worked in the legislature, and we examined the school code, and there's some gaps that we think in part allowed this to happen. And so what we're going to suggest is there needs to be some changes in state law right now.
So I'm not going to listen to go through all of the video. However, if you all do want to watch the rest of what he said, it's going to be on it's going to be, this is the press conference, and let me just go back up. So this is going to be on click on Detroit. So I all I did was go to Google, and I Googled woman who left the children in the house, and it popped up, click on Detroit. So number 4, click on Detroit, and you can see the press conference of what he was saying. But I agree with everything that he was saying. I was glad that he gave details and outline like what needs to be done moving forward. It's crazy because I feel like the school system should have already had that in place anyway. And they probably do. Some of the excuse me, administrative staff probably dropped the ball on what was the protocol of what was supposed to have happened. So they probably do have them things in place that he was talking about, but somebody dropped the ball. This is why it's important when you have a job that you take it seriously. That you really take it seriously. Because like I work in the post office, as y'all may know, may not know. But if somebody at the post office drops the ball and don't do what they're supposed to do, then the mail that you all are expecting or someone is expecting, it's not going to be delivered on time. It's not going to be delivered right. And if that tends to happen, then you have people that could be waiting on checks, bills, any level of things. And if we drop the ball, then their stuff gets delayed. Then it's a trickle down domino effect, right? And so you have some people, though, unfortunately, that work at jobs that don't care. They just there to collect the paycheck. And they sit up here and they just go forward and they just don't check all the checks and balances that they need to. And before you know it, stuff is falling through the cracks and it's a big old issue. So, like the other day, my supervisor came up to me and she was just like, make sure that you're putting the things in the right PO boxes. And I always make sure that I double check, right? But somebody on our shift didn't care enough to make sure that some mail was in the right PO box. And so because of that, it was like a $10,000 check that had went missing and that a bank was waiting on to give to a customer, and it was a whole bunch of stuff. So our supervisor ended up getting a nasty email about it, and it was a bunch of other craziness that happened with that. But that just goes to show you that some people don't care about their jobs. They drop the ball, and then before you know it, stuff is all messed up. Yuli says, wonder if she has Section 8 and food stamps, housing assistance. I wonder. That's what I'm wondering too. With 4 kids, I'm pretty sure she might have been on some type of government assistance, because it makes me wonder that maybe the denial that the saved them by babies lost. Yeah. And if she did have all of those government assistance, then that will further make me think that they're in the system. That will further make me think, so is there not a welfare check attached to it? Don't they have to be enrolled in school to get these things? I don't know how everything goes with the government assistance and things like that. However, I believe in 2025 it's been revised because there are certain things that you have to do in order to maintain. Now, I do know that in order to maintain your assistance, you have to have an address and you have to check in with them every so often so they can make sure that you still need these services. So I don't know. That's why I say the ball was dropped on these kids across the board, not just with the mom, the dad, the neighborhood, everybody, because this should not have happened. In 2025, real talk, my feeling is that we shouldn't have no homeless people on the street, honestly. And we definitely shouldn't have no kids either freezing to death on the street or living in deplorable conditions. I don't care what the status of the parent is, because if the children are enrolled in school, then that right there should be the link between child protective services and law enforcement. If the parent ain't doing what they're supposed to do, just like the kids who was living in the car, the kids who froze to death, the other case of the lady that we're going to talk about tomorrow on Hot Topic, some updates on that. But that particular situation, where was the school system? And these kids were going to school. So you mean to tell me them kids were showing up dirty, stinky, look like they was homeless, and nobody, not a janitor, not an administrator, not nobody said, what's up with these kids looking like this? Yuli says, "Oh, child, don't get me started on the twerking." Girl, we're going to talk about it tomorrow, child. We are. I mean, we could talk about it now if y'all want to, but we definitely going to dive into her tomorrow about that whole situation because I'm just confused. It's a lot going on with these kids. And so when I hear about certain stories that is outside of hot topics, I'm gonna come out and we're gonna discuss it and talk about it. And I'm definitely gonna present y'all with the pictures. I'm gonna go ahead and download videos. Of course, I'm gonna need to pay to have that done. So I'm definitely gonna go ahead and do that so we can get the video on the screen instead of having to look at it from my phone. I got questions on her too, Yuli. Yes, I do. Questions on the twerking lady. I got questions for her too. But that's all I have for this story, y'all. It was definitely horrible, definitely sad. We have to, as a people in a whole, just do better. Like if you see something, say something. Even if some people be like, mind your business, it's none of your business. No, it is my business because I am a human being. I am your neighbor. It's my business. Why are these kids looking like this? Why is this situation like this? It is my business. And we have to do more of getting involved and being nosy and being in people's business sometimes because you never know behind closed doors what's going on with people treating these kids this way. But these days, people don't want to, they just want to let me stay in my place. Let me stay in my apartment. Let me mind my business. Sometimes you got to mind some business. You got to mind, not be nosy to the point where you overly nosy and every time somebody makes a walk across the floor, you got something to say. No, I'm talking about if you notice that kids are not in school when they're supposed to be in school. If you notice that if you're working at a school, a child is showing up to school with their clothes dirty, their hair stinky, looking like they're homeless. I'm saying get involved at that level. Because the children that froze to death in the van, that shouldn't have definitely happened either. The school system should have intervened well before that even happened, even if they were living in a car. Because if you living in a car, you homeless, you don't have access to water. You don't have access to always get your hygiene together. So if you showing up looking tired, nasty, dusty, and everything like that, we need to have a conversation as the school system. Where's the guidance counselors? Where's the teachers? Where are these people? And I understand some people may say, well, they showing up and they got to deal with these bad kids and they got overcrowded and all this stuff. But you can't afford to let this fall through the cracks. You just can't. So y'all let me know what y'all comments are. Shout out to the live watchers that are here. Go ahead and like this video. Go ahead and subscribe to the Redefine Me channel. We do some great good content over here. We have a great good time over here. Y'all go ahead and share this video. And let's get the conversation popping in the chat for the replay game. Thank y'all for joining me. I will be coming out and doing these type of videos when breaking news do air and we need to talk about it. But yeah, going forward, I will hope that, thank you for the heart, Trina. I will hope that we all dig deep inside of ourselves, and the next time we have a inkling of a woman's intuition, especially when it comes to children and situations, that we kind of get involved. If we don't say something, at least make a phone call to the police. And if we're wrong and everything is good, well, at least we did our due diligence in making sure that we checked on the situation. Yes, definitely join me tomorrow. I will be doing hot topics at 6 p.m. I will be here. And make sure when you subscribe that your notification bell is on, that little chime around the bell. Make sure that's on so that you can know when I will be live and I will be here for y'all to give y'all these hot topics because we got some things to talk about. Okay. So I love y'all. What's going on? What's going on next? Love After Lockup. That's my favorite show. I like to review, y'all. That is coming back in March. And so I will be doing those that review on Sundays until it comes back. I think it comes back the first or second week of March. I think it's the second week of March. Until it comes back on Sunday, I have been dropping story times. If you have missed them so far, go back on my page, check out some of those story times. Give me some comments. Let me know what y'all think. And I'm going to be presenting a new story time coming this Sunday of the time I got robbed in the NYC. I love New York. Shout out to my New Yorkers, but child, I got robbed in the NYC. So we're going to talk about that story on Sunday. So make sure y'all notification bell is on. I love y'all so much. I hope y'all have a happy, blessed, and great Tuesday. And I'm going to get off here so I can get ready for work. Y'all know I'm a night worker. So I love y'all. Thank y'all for joining me. Until we meet again. I love y'all. Bye.